What was it? 68.
Number 68.
Yes,
Hello, everybody. I'm Judy.
I'm Carol, and Peggy's going to be
coming.
Here. I don't know.
I'm coming.
Okay, let's make sure you're on screen.
She is.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Very
yes,
good.
yeah, you're on screen.
And we are the Wildflowers. Thanks
Yes,
for
we
joining
are.
us for
Hello,
another episode.
hello.
I just want to start this off real quick just to give a shout out to my husband whose birthday was, by the time this airs it'll have passed, but I should have said it last time. I just don't know the dates when we air these things sometimes. Anyway, happy birthday,
Niall.
Happy birthday, Niall. It's so
my
good
better
hanging
half.
out with you at the birthday party.
Yes.
That's very nice.
That was a lot of fun. I have a little bit of bantering.
Okay.
This morning I saw something in the paper, and the quote really stood out. It says, "Books bear the imprint of their time and place," because a parent was asking, they have this opinion place or whatever, if they should read Dr. Seuss books that have some racism in them to their children. And so the person, well, books, we don't want to ban these books. They have a time and a place, and then if you can explain further with the book, when you're reading it, because the Mark Twain books, there's racism in that, and
the Little House in the Prairie books
Yes.
as well, but it didn't stop me from reading those books to my kids.
Right, exactly. It's an opportunity to tell them about
Discussion.
history, that we, hopefully, every generation gets better.
It's a tool. I mean, why wouldn't you use that as an opportunity as a learning tool, to speak?
Yeah.
When we rely upon authors or directors to teach our kids, or teachers only,
Right.
we're becoming lazy. Use these opportunities as a
Right.
chance to teach your children what they need to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why would
Well,
we stop?
I get a channel on my TV called Buzzer, and it's a game show, and it has old game shows.
Yes.
So last night when I got home from the party, I watched To Tell the Truth and What's My Line from back in the day, and it's all for Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
So on it, they had one for the What's My Line. They had to guess who it was. It was Ruby Dee, and she's an actress, and she's passed now. But also they had on To Tell the Truth. Have you ever seen To Tell the Truth?
No.
All right, so they have to guess. The panelists have to guess which one is telling the truth, who they are.
Right.
They had Rosa Parks.
Oh, did they?
Oh my
Rosa
goodness!
Parks.
Wow, that's.
And I knew which one was Rosa Parks,
Yeah,
just because,
yeah.
but they didn't know. And such a classy lady, and the questions that they asked, about her, what she did, and, that kind of thing. But then they also had, on another To Tell the Truth, one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Okay, interesting.
And his name, it was Bill Melton. And one of the panelists, I don't know if he was naive or not, and I can't remember what actor it was, because they're celebrities that are panelists, asked him, why wouldn't you go into, not the commissary, but where the other airmen were that were white? Why wouldn't you go in with them?
Because I wasn't allowed to.
And he kind of looked at him and he goes, basically, I wasn't welcome.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm still, and the guy was just like that, confused.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to educate people. And then,
That's right.
they asked him, and Kitty Carlisle was one of them, and she's always this very classy, elegant woman. She actually was in old movies when she started, and she was an opera singer too. But she congratulated this man, and she goes, I'm so glad you stuck up for what you were. And you could tell that she was, on their side and what they did. But one of the other guys said, have you seen much change in your history with? And he said, we need more education.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely do.
And this was from, I don't know, 1970s, 1980s. I'm not sure how old this show was. I wish I knew, but after all these years, it's still the same mantra. We need more education.
I just think if we could use these things as teaching tools. There's a show you recommended to me years and years and years ago, and I was so grateful that you did.
Sesame Street.
Well, no, I've been a Sesame Street fan since I was little. called The Midwife.
Oh yeah.
And we've talked about it on this show, and I did watch it with my girls when they were younger. And I do speak to my girls about a lot of things,
Right.
But that show has been such a tool.
Oh my goodness.
And opens up so much
I learned things as well.
And there was an episode, I don't know what season, and I'm going to mix up, but where one of the nurses, the midwife's aunts,
Yes.
were conducting an illegal abortion. She ended up getting arrested for it and all that. Now, it's a touchy subject, but again, you know what your kids can handle. You had my kids. We've spoken about things like this, but it's a tool to show this is an issue that's going on today.
Right.
This is where they want to drag people back to.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, it's what happened.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did it in a way that wasn't,
Oh, yeah,
that
no.
was
Wasn't
appropriate,
graphic,
right? It wasn't
right.
super
Yeah.
graphic,
And it wasn't even really political. It was
just fact.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was that show is a brilliant show. I recommend it to anybody with daughters.
Yeah.
I go, if you want a
You
show
can
that
still
you can
see
sit and watch
episodes.
it,
I think-
PBS
yeah.
or Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the new season.
Me too. I can't
Because I
wait.
thought it was going, but it's in Britain right now.
Yes.
But we're supposed to get it, hopefully.
But they had the Christmas show recently. That's airing on reruns right now.
Yeah, I love
which was
that.
wonderful.
Call the Midwife. Good program.
Love that show. Yeah.
Definitely. And we haven't had a word. Have you had any?
No,
words?
I don't have any words. I'm sorry.
You have no words.
I have no words.
I have a word.
And and
You
I
have a
should
word?
because I look at it every
Yes.
single day. But I was busy.
No, I
this week.
actually,
busy.
if you give me a moment, I do have a word because I was reading something. Here it is. No, that's not it. Okay, here. All right. Harridan.
Oh, that's
Oh, a harridan
witch.
is like bitchy woman.
All right, I didn't know what it is. And so I was reading this.
Peggy's always
It
calling
means
me
a strict, bossy, or belligerent old woman, like a bullying
Yeah.
old her. I'm reading a book now, and this came up in there, and I'm like, what do they call it? Why is it just a woman? Don't they have one for a man? And I think they just call him boss,
Right.
or Trump president. But no, it's always, I think it's ironic when things are just labeled for a woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
a harridan
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
Why can't they have it be in a man
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, that was the word I learned
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah, it's a good word.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of my words of the day this week. I really, because I didn't write them down,
Well, if
but
we-
I did look at them. But
If we don't
anyway.
have a lot of banter, could I give you girls a quick
Oh yeah,
question?
sure,
All right,
sure.
I'm pulling out my book of F again randomly. Let's just see. All right.
I'm scared.
Me too.
Let me just see. What is your good? Oh, if you could choose the way you will die, how would you want it to happen?
Oh my
Oh.
God.
There you are.
I want to not be sick leading up to it, and I just want to go to sleep some night and not wake up.
I want to torment my kid. No, they know that is not me at all. How do I? Yeah, I guess that would be. I want to live a long life, but only if it's healthy, and I'm not
I
dependent
guess
on my kids.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
wants to die like in a plane
Exactly.
crash or
No,
something like
no.
that. So I guess that wasn't that good. But there you are. All right. That sounds good.
Well, then I guess we need some wine.
Yes.
And that would be my turn.
Yes.
And this time I am hiding, if I can pick this up without dropping it. I'm hiding what it is. As far as I know, we have never, ever, ever had this grape.
Okay.
So it is a new varietal.
So we'll see. But, and that's all I'm going to say right now. And yes, it's a red.
Is it open?
It's open. Yeah, I opened it.
That's a good
We
idea.
almost didn't have the last one.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to open up the wine the
Peggy
last
was
time.
a little distracted.
But it
the
was
last
still
time.
I forgot to turn on the camera. And then I forgot to open up the wine.
And then the
So we had a little
microphone.
Oh, and the
over.
microphone.
Yes.
It looked very light.
Oh, it is a light color.
I don't
That's
know how-
great.
Okay,
That's great.
thank you.
I just want a tiny bit because
I'm gonna put my
This
this
glasses
is our
on.
second podcast of the day. That's enough. Thank you.
All right, let's see.
Oh, it's a pretty
I'll
color.
bring out my notebook and take a look at these colors.
Okay.
It's kind of dark in here though, so
That's your excuse, and you're going to stick with
that's
it.
what it
It's
is.
a pretty color.
It is.
It's a very pretty color.
All right, I'm gonna say this is.
Ruby, I would say.
I was gonna say garnet.
Oh, is that the word for today?
Oh yeah, look. I mean, but look, if you look when the light's
Oh.
going through it,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
does look ruby-ish.
Okay.
Okay.
What do we smell?
Oh,
I have to look at my window.
smells nice.
it smells totally different than the last wine we
Yes.
tasted.
Yes, they're
You
gonna
know,
probably
this
hate
one
this
here, you could almost smell I think this one's gonna have like a finish, and it's gonna have
has
the acidity.
Cherry. A red cherry.
Ba, 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 ba.
Is there a little apple in here?
Oh no.
I don't have any cherry according to
Oh.
my notes.
Some
Is it
vanilla.
blackberry?
Hmm?
Oh, see, now I said that last time.
Yeah,
I want credit
blackberries,
for that
yep.
one.
And there's another thing in here that I'm very surprised, but let's taste. I don't think we've ever said
Cinnamon?
what this other one. I don't think so.
Wait a minute.
Because I don't like this other food item that it says it's in here.
Hard-boiled eggs.
No, that's you. No,
This is a very.
I don't like it.
black olives.
Oh, I love olives,
I
but I
hate-
don't like black olives.
I hate olives.
I
you
only
like-
like green
I don't-
ones.
Yeah,
I don't like any olives.
olives.
I like green olives.
But I like olive
But
oil.
I don't taste olive.
Yeah, I
oil.
like
I don't
olive
taste
oil.
olive here.
I don't think I like this one.
Okay. I'm not going to say where it's from, but it's an elegant structured wine with bright fruit aromas, a medium body, and balanced acidity. Hand harvested, wild fermented, and bottled unfiltered and unfined. Showing notes of blackberries, graphite, and black olive. Blend with fine tannins and contribute to a lingering finish.
No, there's no lingering finish. That's the part that's
I forgot-
bothering me.
I've got lipstick on my glass. I
Oh,
didn't
you
like
didn't-
it.
you didn't
Oh,
like
you
it?
didn't like it.
I
You
didn't like it.
the glass.
And
I think I've
it
learned
does.
the last one.
Or what do we think of the legs?
All right, well, all right, can you guess what kind of berry?
No, I don't know enough about wines to guess the grape. Oh, you mean the
A
berry?
grape. No, a
sorry.
grape. I'm sorry.
So
That's
I don't
varietal?
know enough about
Yeah.
wine.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm just, it's disappointing. I feel like the finish was like, it's supposed to be more, but it just let me down at the end.
Don't let me down.
So that's why I disagree that it's a medium finish. I just don't think it is.
Once again, Long Island fails us.
Oh, it's a Long Island wine?
You see, I don't like Long Island
It's
wines.
a Merlot, and I don't think we've ever
I don't think
had
it's
a
tastes
Merlot
like
on,
a Merlot.
on the podcast. It's the
Really?
Raphael Estate,
Oh, a Raphael.
and it's a 2019.
Okay.
And it's really crazy. I was like, I'm not going to let them know it's a Long
Well,
Island
I'm
wine.
glad you hit it because
Yeah.
I feel like there was supposed to be something more, but it's like a shelf and then it just drops off. There's nothing
Yeah,
there.
no, I got you. Even
Yeah.
the aroma of it
Yeah.
was
Disappointing.
yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. It isn't like if somebody poured me a glass of this, I
You would
wouldn't
drink
say
it,
I'm
sure.
not drinking
Oh no,
this.
Right.
I drink
You
most
know,
things. You
yeah.
know, give me free wine, I'll drink it.
No,
you
there
know?
is stuff that I say, no, I'm not drinking that. But I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
do that with this.
I've been known
I
to pour
use-
some
Yeah.
wine out.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems,
You
I
know
don't
what- you
it's
know
like
what's-
light to me for
But
a
it's also
Merlot.
kind of hard when we have back-to-back podcasts
I
because when we have
know.
a really good wine.
Yeah.
No, but we also had food in between, and we
True.
drink water. You know, so our
Yeah.
palates are all cleansed.
Right.
I don't think that's it. I think it's just this is not
Trying to
a
give myself an
favorite
excuse.
wine here. I'm not a fan. I've had
I mean, I'll
Raphael
drink.
before, but I don't know if
Right,
it's been a Merlot. But I've had it.
So
before.
how many wildflowers? Oh, I'm scared.
No, I would give this probably a 3.75.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible wine at all.
How many? 3. Okay. I would give it 3.75.
Yeah, I think that's a fair rating.
Okay, and I know you never buy it, but how
No.
much do you think it sells for?
Oh, it's a Long Island
It's
wine.
going to be more than it should be.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be $21.99.
I don't. I would pay $11 for this, but
Okay.
I think it's probably more like 18.
It's $25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$25. So, yeah. So Raphael, Long Island wine. If
Sorry.
if you like Merlot, every time I see a Merlot, I think of the movie Sideways.
Yeah, Sideways,
I
yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah.
There was one that we really liked from Long Island. It was the one you got.
Yes, it was the Peregrini Cabernet Franc.
Cabernet.
Oh, yes, I
Yes,
like
that was
Yeah.
good.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Well,
Oh well.
that was the
No,
one.
it is a Carol. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
You know, no, I did not.
Good effort. Well
Not
done.
like this
Yeah.
wine. It's just
But-
isn't something that I would seek out
Yes.
again. I wouldn't
Right,
say, oh, I
right,
think I'll
I
buy
should-
that wine.
yeah.
I actually think it was a gift. to be
Oh, okay.
honest with you.
Okay. Sorry for the person who gave
Yeah, I
the
don't
gift.
remember who it would be, but
Well, I like to try the Long Island wines, and they have come a long way
well, and
over
the
the
podcast
years.
is a good way
Uh-huh.
to do it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean I would never ever go out to the vineyards because I will.
Yeah.
Oh, we all will.
Yeah.
We'll be there in the spring.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we really should schedule
Yeah,
that.
we
definitely.
wanted to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So should we move to the book?
Yes, I guess that we
let's-
should.
I think so.
So, I have the book, this podcast, and this book, I don't even think like my review could
I
give
don't
it.
think I took a picture of you with it.
You do
Oh.
that afterwards.
All right, don't let me
Yeah.
forget.
Okay, I probably will.
All right, so you just keep talking and I'll take a picture.
Okay. So the name of the book is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Is this a children's book?
No, this is not a children's
Oh.
book. This is actually a very, very popular book.
Okay.
It's kind of like a guide to life. And it's one of those books that you sit in your chair and you'll read it and you'll be finished in like 20 minutes.
Oh, nice.
But it's also the kind of book that you want to keep handy. And maybe once a week pick it up, or once a day pick it up, or
Yes.
once in a while pick it up, but leave it someplace where it's handy. Because it really does, it's about struggles through life and how to get through life. And it's about friendship, and it's about kindness, and it's about love, and it's about powering your way through troubled times, like through the storm. So the only way, I'm going to read the authors.
Well, can I just say something? I love that you said before, like you leave it out and it picks it up because it's covered with drama.
Oh.
Right? It's just
It's
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would want to pick that
Yes.
up.
Uh-huh.
You know.
And it's, beautifully illustrated with very, very simple,
Yeah.
very simple illustrations. And the author did the illustrations
Did we say
also.
who the author is?
I'm going to say it right
Okay.
now. It's Charlie Mackesy. Mackesy?
It looks like
I
that,
can't
but-
understand
That's
his
what
name.
it
Like
looks like to me.
Mackesy or Macquarie?
I think it's Macquarie. It is-
Macquarie.
Yeah.
I think he's an Irish guy, actually. I think he's from Ireland, but I'm not positive about that. So, my review isn't going to do this book justice, so I'll read the author's introduction to the book.
Oh,
Okay? And his handwriting is very hard to read,
Yeah.
too.
Is it
Okay.
bright enough for you? Is the light-
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And he says, "Hello. You started at the beginning, which is impressive. I usually start in the middle and never read introductions. It's surprising that I've made a book because I'm not good at reading them. The truth is, I need pictures. They are like islands, places to get to in a sea of words. This book is for everyone, whether you are 80 or 8. I feel like I'm both sometimes. I'd like it to be one you can dip into anywhere, anytime. Start in the middle if you like, scribble on it, crease the corners, and leave it well thumbed. The drawings are mainly of a boy, a mole, a fox, and a horse. I'll tell you a little bit about them, although I'm sure you'll see things here that I don't see, so I'll be quick. The boy is lonely when the mole first surfaces. They spend time together gazing into the wilds. I think the wild is a bit like life, frightening sometimes, but beautiful. In their wanderings, they meet the fox. It's never going to be easy meeting a fox if you're a mole. The boy is full of questions. The mole is greedy for cake. The fox is mainly silent and wary because he's been hurt by life. The horse is the biggest thing they have ever encountered and also the gentlest. They are all different, like us, and each has their own weaknesses. I can see myself in all 4 of them. Perhaps you can too. Their adventures happen in springtime, where one moment snow is falling and the sun shines the next, which is also a little bit like life. It can turn on a sixpence. I hope this book encourages you, perhaps to live courageously with more kindness for yourself and for others, and to ask for help when you need it, which is always a brave thing to do. When I was making the book, I often wondered, who on earth am I to be doing this? But as the horse says, the truth is everyone is winging it. So I say, spread your wings and follow your dreams. This book is one of mine. I hope you enjoy it as much as I love to you. Thank you, Charlie. So it,
I love
just like a few little things from, like, this is one of the parts of the book that really struck me, because all of us are always afraid to ask for help. It's like a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel stupid. And this is the boy asks the horse, "What is the bravest thing you've ever said?" asked the boy. "Help," said the horse. And that is just so true.
Yes.
For us to reach out to somebody else.
Yep.
And then this one here. "The greatest illusion," said the mole, "is that life should be perfect."
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
is
we're
so
always
true.
looking for that perfection
Yep.
in life.
Yep.
Social media.
And in people. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, we hold people, other people to such a high standard
Yes.
sometimes, instead of accepting each other for, who we
we
are.
are.
That's I always want you guys to accept me for who I am, because really, I mean. And the other one is one of my favorite things. Be curious.
Yes.
I just love, like, we have to be curious. That's what makes you interesting and
Yeah.
Keeps
and
you
makes
going.
you learn.
Yes.
And this one here. Is
I
your
love that.
glass half empty or half full?
Well, when Peggy drinks.
Asked the mole. "I think I'm grateful to have a glass," said the boy.
Oh.
And this book is really beautiful, and I think everybody should have a copy
Yes,
of
I
it.
agree.
And this is the last thing I'll read. "Sometimes I want to say I love you all," said the mole, "but I find it difficult." "Do you?" said the boy. "Yes. So I say something like, I'm glad we are all here." "Okay," said the boy. "I'm glad we are all here. We are so glad you are here too." And that's another thing. And I find that even in my family, as much as, like, we all love each other with my sisters, like, we weren't raised to be so vocal about it.
Yep.
So, like, we do say things like, "Oh, I'm so glad that we're all together."
Yeah.
There's more than one way to say you express your love.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, again, it's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, Charlie Mackesy, and you can get it at any bookstore.
Oh, I'm going to pick it up.
Every single bookstore
Yeah, I love it.
carries this book. It's
Good,
beautiful.
good.
So,
How long ago was it written? Do you know? I don't mean to.
I think it wasn't that long ago.
And how did you
I-
come across it?
I came across it in the bookstore. Actually, a couple of people had recommended it to me.
Oh, okay.
I did read online about. Oh, here it is. It's in the back. So 2019
Okay.
came out. Like
Okay.
5 years ago.
It's so.
And people have, like, one woman, Joanne. She used to work in theaters with me when we first opened.
Right.
And she asked me one day, "Did you ever read this book?" And I said, "No, but so many people have recommended it to me."
Oh,
So I finally went to the bookstore and bought it. So.
well, it's funny because like my family too. I was raised by loving parents or whatever, but I don't recall them ever saying "love you," "I love you" until we got older.
Yeah.
But when I first moved to Long Island and I met some people, friends of my then husband, a family, big family, and the son was going out for the night, and I heard his father and mother yell, "I love you, I love you," and that shocked me.
Yeah.
My reaction was like, "Oh,
People say that?
I'm gonna no, I'm gonna do that when I have kids. I'm gonna tell them I
Yeah.
love them out loud."
Yeah.
And again, like when I got older, I talked to my parents. They'd say, "I love you" on the phone. Never when we were little, and I do think it was a
Right.
generational thing.
It was, and I think that we talked about it once
Yeah.
before, because I found that with my mom, she wasn't, very vocal about it. I mean, God knows that she loved us
Oh,
to
and
death.
I
She
knew
had
that.
10
But like you
children,
said-
but when we had, my sisters and my brothers and I, when we had our children, I think we taught my mom.
Ah.
Because then my mom started saying to us as adults, I love you, when she greeted us and kissing us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were little, we didn't have that. We had her love, her attention, her care.
Right.
But she
Exactly.
saw how we were with our children. So,
That's
she
neat.
learned from her children.
Yeah, and that's pretty awesome. That's really
I
good.
love that book. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
that's that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peggy. That was
That was
very
a great
nice.
review.
So now we're moving on to the topic. Is
Yeah.
it?
The topic is going to be choice in education with a question mark.
Oh.
And I came across this topic because I was struggling with what to think about, because I just did a topic. We taped this one so close together to the last one.
Yeah.
And so I was scrolling and said, let me see what's pending in Congress, because nothing's going on in Congress lately other than they want to...
Everything's pending in Congress for
yeah.
years.
They want to impeach, again,
Yeah.
after the failed impeachment and, all this crazy stuff. So, but what I saw is that there was a U.S. Senate resolution, SR 531, which was, which took effect, which was a resolution designating the week of January 21st through January 27th as National School Choice Week. And I go, what is that?
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. Apparently this is not new. I think this happened for a while, but I never really heard of it. And it was sponsored by 26 senators. And I'm like, oh my goodness, so this is something. Well, and so the senators that I'm not going to name all of them, but were Tim Scott, Mitch McConnell, Tim Cotton, Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz,
wow.
Mitt Romney, and all Republicans, no Democrats, which made me think,
So it must be bad.
I go, what is this school choice week, And so, have you ever heard of that, school choice?
Mm-mm.
No, I know that, I heard, with charter schools and vouchers.
That's
and
what it is.
Yeah, so
And
I figured that's what it was.
it's promoting this, and I've heard of those terms too,
Mhm.
but I wasn't educated enough, I think, to really fully understand what these are. So I did a little deep dive into.
Well, that's good, because
into
I've
this.
always been kind of on the fence
me
with like the
too.
charter schools and giving people vouchers, because I said, where are they putting that money instead of putting it into the schools that we already have?
Well, the question really isn't where are they putting the money, is where are they getting the money?
Mhm.
Okay, so I think I could sum this all up probably in one sentence, that this movement of school choice, while it's not new, it's been around for a while, it's highly partisan, and it's funded by the ultra rich, like the Koch brothers,
Okay.
like the Gleason families.
Okay.
Okay, and they are the main proponents behind this movement. So that should tell you an awful lot about school choice.
Okay, so my question would be why?
Okay.
Why are they? And
I'm going to get to
and
that.
where are they doing it? Is it in poor neighborhoods where the schools are terrible?
Judy's going to tell us.
Let me give you a little bit of time. Okay, so let me just explain for our viewership. School choice are efforts to funnel public tax dollars from public schools that are earmarked to your public school district away from the public school district, and take these are our tax dollars, and put them to privately managed alternatives to public schools via the vouchers.
So people who are in lower income brackets who live in these neighborhoods cannot afford to go to the schools?
Not necessarily, no. So, but let me I'll give you a little, the roots of this were in white supremacist movement. This is how it started. And this all came about after the Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education.
Wow.
This is when the voucher program started.
Really?
Yes, this
That
has been
was
on
a
for
long
that-
time
a long
ago.
time ago, and they've been gaining popularity. Betsy DeVos, who was the former Secretary of Education, and she's publicly said she wants to see the public school system dismantled in favor of these voucher programs.
Bad.
Okay.
Bad.
So what this really means is we're using essentially generational wealth to influence public policy and what is traditionally public education, and using it to funnel our public tax dollars to private institutions that don't have the same accounting or monitoring in some cases that our public schools have.
And probably
No
curriculums.
As well. So the Koch brothers have been targeting public school education since 1970.
Wow.
through his Center for Independent Education.
God.
I love these titles too. They
Yeah.
make it
Oh,
seem
yeah.
like it's such a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Wake up. And like me too, I was like, I needed to wake up and
Yeah.
like, this is what they do. It sounds so nice. Center for Independent Education.
Yeah.
No. You know, when you really think about it. So they even had a campaign in 2019 called the Yes, Every Kid campaign, which pushes the public vouchers and charter schools. So even the Independent Women's Voice group, IWF, they're one of their main recipients from the Koch brothers to help establish Milwaukee's voucher program and buyouts to use tax dollars to subsidize religious private schools.
Wow.
So we're not just talking about, this isn't used just for private schools, it's religious schools, as well. And so now you're talking again about intermingling public
That's right,
funds
with
in a way
religion.
to religion and all of this stuff. So, and what is the consequence of it? Well, the consequence is that it's taking the money away from public schools, which means less resources from our public school systems. Now, a little backdrop. I just want to say, I grew up in a Catholic school system.
So did I.
And my parents thought they were doing the very best thing for me. And I want to say it, and I went to one of the most prestigious Catholic, I'm not going to name it here because high schools and here on the island. When I went to college, I was at a visibly disadvantage academically and preparedly to my public school counterparts. So much so that I said, my kids will not go to private schools. And I will not waste my money on that.
Right.
And when I see what my children are being offered in the public schools, so comparative to those that I know who are currently in religious school, it is a stark contrast.
Yeah.
I mean, my children are already earning college credit
Yeah.
as a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that they are prepared, my mind is blown. And to think that this is what's happened. And the other way, what they want to do is to take these public school opportunities away and make the alternative a norm.
Yeah.
It's frightening. And so, okay, so I already spoke about Betsy DeVos. She's a big supporter. Charters are, okay, so what's charter? Charters are publicly funded but privately run. Religious schools are also publicly subsidized. I mean, we already do, they already get their buses paid for by the public school tax dollars.
Exactly.
They get their books paid for by the public tax
All the
dollars.
textbooks,
But now we're talking about subsidizing tuition
Mm-hmm.
to send them, for this as well, okay? So Betsy DeVos has basically said traditional public schools are a dead end. She could not be more wrong. And to have that mindset, which Trump is a big proponent of these charter schools and voucher programs, is a dangerous mindset to take this away. So anyway, the movement of the vouchers, like I said, started in 1955, and it was done by this man called Milton Friedman. Never heard about him. He was a libertarian economist. Some of the things that he stood for at the time was shutting down Social Security, because he said that leads to welfare dependency. Shutting down the federal, the FDA, because he thought that had no place. And shutting down doctor licensing. He wanted to remove licensing doctors because he feared it would lead to a monopoly. This is the man who started the voucher program. That's what he believed. Okay. So what are school vouchers? Three main things. They redirect public education funds to pay for tuition in private schools, which I said. It's ongoing with the vouchers. We already did, I talked buses, books. Not all states offer vouchers. Currently, about 30 states, including DC, have this voucher program. Private schools are not required. Pay attention, parents. This is where you're going to know. Private schools are not required to offer the same special education services as public schools. Do you have a special education student? I'm talking about an IEP, reading, speech, occupational therapy, anything like that. Forget about it. Maybe if they want to offer it, they might. But it's not required to be offered, period.
Wow.
And it's even if they do offer it, it's what they say is they want to do, not what the state standards would do.
Now, as New York State, we have the voucher system here. I know that we have charter schools.
It's different levels. Like there's some. I don't want to go too much, but there's something called indirect and direct vouchers. Some states, prohibit direct vouchering. Some allow indirect. It's a very complicated system, but there are some different levels all over. So we have traditional voucher programs that where there's set dollar amount of public funds pay for private tuition. That'd be more very direct. Then you have educational savings accounts where this is individual accounts per student. So this is where you could have a private or homeschooling. They could, fund that, even homeschooling dollars as well. Then there's something called tax credit scholarships. And this is where states give businesses or individuals tax credits to donate money to a scholarship organization. So the students, and then only those students who meet their requirements would be getting private tuition. So now we're making the decision of whether this money goes to businesses or individuals. Who can afford to do that? Wealthy people.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now they're the ones that are controlling the educational system. I talked about special education. No individual education program, your IEPs, doesn't have to pay for evaluations. You know how doesn't have to pay for additional service like speech, therapy, occupational. Not required to have the same training for special education teachers even as you would have in a public school, and not required to provide data on how well these students, if they do go, are doing in their classrooms. They don't have to report that to the state, and yet we're giving them our tax dollars. This is crazy. Okay. So there was bringing the law into this in 2002. There was a U.S. Supreme Court case. I have it here. I'll get to it in my notes because I can't read my writing sometimes. Okay, Zellman
like me.
Zellman versus Simmons v. Harris, which upheld the constitutionality of this voucher program. Okay, based on the Establishment Clause, which I want to do a section on that later on. Okay, and there are a lot of different ways that this is going through. There's something called Blaine Amendments. James G. Blaine was the Speaker of the House in 1875, Republican minority leader. He proposed a constitutional amendment prohibiting states from funding religious education. But this failed to pass. 36 states passed their own constitutional amendments. So even though, we have some of these states that are resisting some of these, these voucher programs, but they're being understandably attacked, and we are now losing a lot of these members because their constitutions are being overturned. I didn't know this was a big movement. Who's funding this? The Kochs, the Gleasons, and we need to realize that because they're being chipped away at it. And once these Blaine amendments go now, start out at 36 states that were passed their own, we only now have 31 states. So we've already lost 5 of them.
Wow.
And because they are winning this argument, the millionaires, the ultra rich, and they want to control the education because education is power. That's what we teach here. We know it is. And if we let the ultra rich control what our kids are learning,
it's going to be limited.
It's going to be so limited.
I mean, they're already doing it. Look at places like Florida.
Yeah.
And
Florida
Texas
had one of these Blaine amendments.
Yeah.
And that was what the big resistance. And so, anyway, one thing I do want to talk about real quick is not all states require the same credentials for teachers in private schools as they do in public schools. This was something I've known for such a long time, even way before the child sex scandal with the church broke out. And I always thought, what a risk, because in public schools you have something called mandated reporters. Before the sex scandal broke in the Catholic Church, most religious and private organizations were exempt. That means if they knew about sexual abuse or any abuse, they did not have to report that to the state. Do you know that still to this day, not all states have passed mandated reports? So you could be paying your kids to go to private schools, using tax dollars to fund them, and still not getting the same protections that your children have. Only, in a public school. In 2018, New York State is when they finally passed.
Wow.
2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you went to Catholic school, when I went to Catholic school, there was no requirement. Yet our parents were paying tuition, thinking they're getting a safer experience for their kids, and they really weren't. And so, it's just, I think we need to pay attention to this, and I really can't say enough at what a stark contrast I felt in knowing my peers and how much they were exposed to in a public school education than at one of the most prestigious Catholic schools here on Long Island. And I would never waste my money on that education. Never.
For my kids. Or the lack thereof.
Or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
And if we allow somebody like Betsy DeVos or Trump to get back in power to push these to the forefront again of our education, it's going to affect all of our kids. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. I thought it was
well, I think the fact that you're bringing this up and people need to know about it, because I don't think I was aware. I mean, I knew
certainly
that
wasn't.
Not to this degree, and I think that it definitely, we need to speak up.
Definitely. I mean, I went to Catholic schools for 12 years, and in our high school, we didn't even have a gym. We did not have a gym. We did have gym classes because we had to, but we had them in an auditorium.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't really have a music program
No.
either. We had a glee club. I was in the glee club. But in my memory, there was no other music program. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't remember ever being offered to learn how to play any kind of instruments or
foreign
anything.
languages, nothing.
Well,
until
we did
until high school.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but in elementary school, no, there was no offer of it.
We didn't even have a playground in elementary school.
Yeah,
we had a concrete parking lot that they let kids run around in.
We lined up on the street in elementary school outside the school.
Yeah.
It was Weirfield Street. They closed the street so no cars could go down.
Well, at least
And
they did that.
Yeah, I know.
They did that.
We didn't have to dodge the cars.
It's.
Wow.
Yeah.
But imagine, I mean, you think you're paying your tax dollars to support education. And where I live, my school district, we earmark a large amount of money to our school district. And rightfully so. It's a big district, but they have a tremendous amount of resources. Not just, and I know athletics is big in our school. We have our own pool. We have great fields. But the education, the music program, the drama program, we're an IB school, International Baccalaureate program. It's so many opportunities, which is why I chose this school district. To be honest, it's a really important thing, and to know that some of these could be lost because we're funneling away our tax dollars to pay for subpar education.
So in a sentence or two,
in my opinion.
In a sentence or two, why do you think it's trying to be pushed through?
Because the public school system teaches free thinkers.
Okay.
And offers them a lot of opportunities. And you are in a religious school or a private school, you have no oversight. It's the private, whoever is running that school,
that's what you're learning.
And they can control.
Definitely.
And who's controlling it? The ultra rich. And the ultra rich want to stay rich. So they don't want to raise free students. They don't want to have to be held accountable to anybody. And I think
I have to be honest, when you first told us that this was going to be your topic, I'm like, okay, that sounds a little dry. I think it's one of your better ones that has educated, enlightened me. No, you have a lot of good, and you both do. But I'm just saying, it's very enlightening, because if you don't know about it, you can't do anything about it. And so I'm not quite sure what I can do about it right now, but the fact that I know about it, at least that's part of it.
I just think the only way it would have come across is to even know it was a topic worth talking is look at the pending bills in Congress.
That's very interesting.
And that's how I found it, because there's, some of the other, I didn't write them down, but some of the other ones, there's a current bill pending against animal cruelty, which has bipartisan support. Are we moving on anything like this? No, but we're designating a week to this national choice education because we're pleasing the Kochs and the Gleasons.
Yeah. Well, I've always been, with the charter schools, it kind of always bothered me, and I'm not that well educated on it, but I could see the benefits of it in some cases. Like I'm sure, like some of the charter schools that they opened in poorer neighborhoods, and maybe their schools, the public schools, weren't up to par. But in my way of thinking, it was always like, so put the money into that school that's failing.
Right. Well, that's where
Fix
the money
it.
was.
Yeah.
But if you're taking it away,
No, that's what I mean. Like, stop taking it away
right?
to do something else. Fix what's broken. We already have that. So now fix it. Don't just give up on it. And how many kids can get into a charter school?
Right.
They're smaller classes.
And how is that public school to repair itself if it's operating now on a lesser budget?
And there's been also some scandals about some of these charter schools too.
Because there's not the same oversight.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you.
Good,
Jim.
very good, Judy.
We'd love to know what you think of this topic, but I just want to say something silly.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm looking at the two of you, and I wore blue because
You're not in the green
I
club.
know.
I didn't finish. You come in. I wore blue because it's not easy being green.
Oh, Kermit, you're so funny.
No, you ended with a joke one time. All right. So anyway, but no, thank you. On a serious note, that was fascinating, and we got.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.
That was.